do this short video on how to get back to the UK from Fuerteventura because there are no more direct flights. Personally, I found the whole process quite daunting with lots of research and lots of form filling. So I thought I'd do this short video to guide you through the process, maybe save you some time and possibly save you some money. First of all, a bit of background. We needed to get back to the UK for a knee operation for my husband. We had planned to fly out of Fuerteventura at the end of March, but my husband contracted COVID, so that scuppered that plan, which meant that we had to cancel our flights and rebook for April. So how do you get back to the UK from Fuerteventura when there are no more flights? We looked at various options, including driving back. Here are some of the most obvious options. The driving back option involves a car ferry to Lanzarote, and then you drive to Arrecife, from where you get the extremely long 29-hour crossing to either Cadiz or Huelva, and then you have a short 2,200-mile drive through Spain and France. With all the different COVID regulations in the different countries and the length of the journey and the cost, this just didn't seem to be a practical option. Then you have flights from Fuerteventura via the mainland back to various airports in the UK. So that would involve you taking a flight from Fuerteventura to Madrid or Barcelona and transferring flight there. I'll give you all the links to the resources that I used at the end of this video. In the end, we decided that we preferred not to fly via mainland Spain and decided that the easiest option for us was to go via Lanzarote. This involved us simply getting a ferry from Corralejo across to Lanzarote to Playa Blanca. We managed to get a cheap flight with Ryanair for only $14.99 from Lanzarote to Stansted Airport, so that was quite cheap. Now the expensive part comes with all the various COVID tests that you need. So in this video, I'm going to guide you through the paperwork and the palaver that we had to go through to make this flight happen. I hope you find it useful, and I hope it saves you some time. If you do, give me a thumbs up, and if you have some other alternatives or any comments at all, please leave them in the comments below. So, the countdown. The first thing you need to do, obviously, is to get yourself a flight. And once you've done that, you need to book yourself a COVID test. Now, the rules do keep changing, so we decided to go for a PCR test, as this would cover us for all eventualities. We looked around on the island, and a lot of them were 140, 150 euros. And then we found out that they were actually doing them at the airport, either in Fuerteventura or in Lanzarote, and they were only 70 euros. You can actually go online and book this in advance, and you get your results within 24 hours. Megalab, who are doing these tests, are offering these tests at all the Canary Islands main airports and also in mainland Spain. And again, I'll give you the link to this at the end of the video. This test has to be taken 72 hours prior to your arrival in the UK. Then you need to book your day 2 and day 8 tests. This is the UK quarantine package. As we're not coming from a red country, it's home quarantine rather than hotel quarantine. You'll need the reference number for these tests before you can complete the passenger locator form. Again, there are many companies offering these tests and prices vary tremendously. I did a lot of research and I think I found a reasonably priced one. Again, I will give you the links at the end of the video and all the costs for this trip. So we booked with NatTest. They send the package to you at the location in which you're self-isolating for day 2 and then another one for day 8. You then send these tests back to them. It's just a saliva test via a Royal Mail priority post box, which you find by simply putting your postcode into the website. The next thing you need to do is to check in for your flight. However, if you're booked with Ryanair, you can't check in for your flight without paying extra for a seat until 24 hours before your flight. You need your seat number for the passenger locator form. Once you've done all this, you can finally start to complete the passenger locator form, but you're not allowed to do this until 48 hours prior to your flight. Again, the link to this form is at the end of the video. In this form, you'll need the reference for the tests that you have booked for day 2 and day 8, and you will need to put in your flight details and seat number. You will also need the address of where you are self-isolating on arrival in the UK. The form itself is very self-explanatory, but you do need all of this information before you can start to complete it. If you plan to do the TTR, or test to release, on day 5, you also need to provide the details of where you will be doing this. But you don't actually need to pre-book that test, you just need the name of the provider. If you do decide to go for this option, remember that day 0 is the day you arrive. So make sure you calculate your day 5 correctly, otherwise the test will be null and void. Again, there are many options for booking this test. Some give same day results, some next day results, and some don't give you the results for 3 days. We chose the next day option and paid £125. Once you've completed the form, you get a QR code, which you can either print off or save to your phone. This QR code you are asked for on arrival at the airport at the check-in desk, passport control, before you go on the flight, and when you arrive at your destination airport. And remember, at the airport now, they will stamp your passport on leaving the islands. This is to ensure that you comply with the 90-day stay rules. So let's quickly summarise these 5 steps. Book your flight, book your COVID test, book day 2 and day 8 package, check in for your flight, do the passenger locator form and get your QR code. Stay tuned as we head for the ferry and onto the airport, onto the flight and into the UK, and see what happens next. Well, we made it onto the ferry. Now we're on our way to Lanzarote to get the flight to England. So we took our PCR test and tested negative. We did have to fill in a self-declaration form to say that we were going back to our country of residence though. And I broke my toe. So we have 2 cripples. One with a broken toe, and Johnny no knees, on his way to England for a knee operation. So how are you feeling, Johnny?
Much better, to be quite honest, much better, and relieved that we got through those tests and that we're now beginning the journey to finally get these knees repaired.
So here we are at Lanzarote Airport, a beautiful sunny day. Not much happening here though, as you can see. Hardly anyone around. 11 o'clock in the morning. Here we go. That's an almost empty airport, I'd say. Not much happening here. Just a Ryanair flight, I think, going out to London Stansted, just our flight. I think that's it. All the other flights on the board are to mainland, Seville, Gran Canaria, Madrid, Tenerife, and that's it, literally just, oh, and Barcelona. But the only UK flight going out of here is ours to Stansted. So there's nothing at all open this side. I assume there's something open once you go through though. I'm just going to take you and show you the COVID centre. This is the COVID centre at the airport. This is where you come to get your test. How cool is that? So the ghost town theme continued through passport control and into departures. There's absolutely nobody in duty free. There are a couple of bars open where you could get some food and a drink, but none of the shops were open and there weren't many people around at all. Because of the broken toe, I got a wheelchair transfer all the way to the plane, and poor old Johnny had to limp along behind me. The flight was almost empty, with only 20 passengers, including us. But other than having to wear a mask throughout the entire flight, unless you were eating or drinking, it was really no different than any other flight. You are advised to check the latest rules for yourself to ensure that you comply with the latest COVID testing policies and quarantine regulations.
So stay with us to find out what happens as you land at the airport and what happens over the next few days whilst you are quarantining at home. At the end of the video, I share with you the costings for this trip, including all the tests that we had to take and the flight, and I will also include all the links to the people that we used for our tests. On arrival at Stansted Airport, other than it being almost deserted and having to show our QR code yet again, nothing was different from a normal flight arrival.
So it's now day 4. Roll on day 5, that's all I can say. We've had our Waitrose delivery. We haven't been out of the house. We have been contacted on a daily basis by the COVID assurance team. The first day, day 1, the day after we arrived, and they called then to check that we understood the regulations, that we were indeed self-isolating. They checked the day that we arrived and asked us if we had opted in for the test to release on day 5, which we had. They then stressed to us when day 5 would be and told us we would need to isolate until then, but that day we were free to go for the test. If on day 5 we test negative, we are then free to leave isolation, but we still have to take the day 8 test. So I guess that's it. Fingers crossed that we both test negative tomorrow, and then we're free. I can't wait. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you found it useful. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. Please don't forget to leave me any comments in the section below. And don't forget to subscribe so that I can keep you updated with my latest videos. Thank you. See you again soon. Here's to freedom.